What is spreading across the world? The Wuhan virus, of course. But there's something else too. Anti-racism protests. At least that is what they started out as. Protesting selective policing, a movement against racial injustice and police brutality. But somehow, over the last couple of weeks, the protesters have been steered away from their objective. Statues have become their favorite target, and this movement has turned into a structure removal brigade. Almost every historical statue is being targeted. Even Mahatma Gandhi's statue was not spared. On Gravitas, we've been reporting the developments. We've questioned the need to celebrate symbols of hate. We told you about Churchill's racism, how he engineered the Bengal famine of 1943. We told you about Edward Colston and questioned why we must endorse slave traders. Now, over the last 2 weeks, the Black Lives Matter movement has taken a rather objectionable turn, one that we cannot agree with. What started as a movement against hate has begun spewing hate. I can understand if people want to do away with statues of Confederate leaders. They had blood on their hands. But what is the need to remove a statue of, say, a Theodore Roosevelt? The former US president's statue is being removed from New York's Museum of Natural History. The structure has been there since 1940. So what is this sudden aversion towards Theodore Roosevelt? This president was instrumental in ending a war. His role in diffusing the flames of the Russia-Japan war even earned him a Nobel Peace Prize. How does he become a symbol of hate now? The protesters say that they have a reason, a rather absurd one though. They say there's nothing against Roosevelt. The problem is with the symbolism of the Native American man and the African man who stand beside him in this bronze statue. New York Mayor de Blasio seems to agree. He says it, quote-unquote, depicts black and indigenous people as subjugated and racially inferior. He calls the statue problematic. Of course, he's playing politics, and he is playing with sentiments. But are sentiments so fragile? Can they be molded so easily? Do you see how far this protest is being stretched? Let me give you another example. George Washington, his statue was set on fire and pulled to the ground in Portland. Washington owned slaves, and no one's denying that, but he also founded the United States of America. Statues of James Cook have been defaced in Australia and New Zealand. So many statues have come under attack the world over. In Tennessee, a newspaper publisher's statue was toppled. Edward Ward Carmack's statue stood in Nashville for over 90 years. In Richmond, protesters have toppled Jefferson Davis's statue. A structure of Christopher Columbus was thrown in a lake. Across the Atlantic, in the UK, the statue of slave trader Edward Colston was among the first to be removed. These protesters have a hit list of 100 and include statues they want toppled and streets they want renamed. Some of the names that feature on this list are explorer Christopher Columbus. Some of his statues, by the way, have already been targeted. Protesters also want to take down the statue of Tory politician Henry Dundas. Also on the list is former British Prime Minister Robert Peel. What was his fault? Protesters say that Peel petitioned against the Foreign Slave Trade Abolition Bill in 1806. They are wrong. Peel was a teenager in 1806. It was his father who campaigned against this bill. Do you get what I'm trying to say here? These protesters have lost the balance. Well, the past can be disappointing. The past can be objectionable. It can be racist. In fact, it has been racist. From India to the US and Africa, people have been wronged. But the past is past. It's gone. We cannot wish it away, even by protests. What we can do is draw lessons from it. Rewriting history is fraught with pitfalls, social and political. Let's face it, we have bigger problems at hand right now. The Wuhan virus, nearly 95 lakh people have been infected. There's chaos the world over, a healthcare crisis, an economic crisis, a humanitarian crisis. Racism is unforgivable, but so is ignoring the challenges at hand. The world needs to prioritize. Can't spend so much time and energy debating dead people when those alive need saving. Now is not the time, not the best time certainly, to go down the lanes of history.